Galair, and welcome to the Loaf of Bread GAA podcast, slicing into the GAA of the past, present and future. Join me, Jason Keelan, as we cut into the largest loaf of bread known to mankind.
Hello, Diegwich, bonjour, ni hao, konnichiwa, guten tag and privyet to you all wherever you're listening in. What started as a message to 10 clubs has now expanded to more than 50 clubs globally from all continents. The journey through Loaf 2 GAA Global continues this week as we move on to our next destination in the GAA world. So come with me on the GAA journey of a lifetime and meet clubs from Canada to Argentina, South Africa to Gibraltar, Bermuda to the North Pole, New Zealand to Kuwait, Knoxville to Qatar, and literally everywhere in between. So grab the passports, grab the bags, it's time to go. On Slice 35, I have the pleasure of chatting to the top man himself, Justin Parks, as he relaxes in the sun outside, and we chat all about his club Costa Gaels GAA on the beautiful southern coast of Spain along Marbella. We chat everything from Justin's early life in Northern Ireland and the normality of living in the Troubles as the son of an RUC officer, the work in running clubs around Spain and Europe, pipping Madrid and Barcelona to be the first registered GAA club in Spain, Iraqi man Achilles getting involved with the club and having a dig at an All-Ireland final referee, fundraising and sponsorship, the future of the GAA in Europe and Irish clubs, GAA in the Spanish provinces and much more, including Brian the Karaoke King, dealing with an ETA car bomb in Marbella, Derry Girls Father Ted, and our new #BringBackJoe campaign. But first, as is tradition, let's take a trip out of the Irish cold and catch up with the goings-on in history surrounding Marbella. Bonsultas. Welcome to the Costa del Sol and the city of Marbella. It's the south of Spain for us today, and the province of Malaga. The city is located on the Mediterranean Sea near the country region of Gibraltar. It was the Phoenicians in the 7th century who helped establish Marbella, with signs of the Carthaginians in the area also. Clear evidence of the Roman influence also exists in the Old Town, with several villa settlements showing signs. There then followed a period of Islamic rule on Spain, and the majority of the country, including Marbella, were once ruled by the Caliphate of Cordoba. 20th century Marbella suffered greatly during the Spanish Civil War, and in the aftermath in the 30s and 40s many buildings were destroyed. It was after World War II that a man named Ricardo Soriano set up a country estate and invited down his rich friends, who in turn began looking to develop similar. This, they say, was the beginning of Marbella tourism on the coast. In 1954, Soriano's nephew opened the Marbella Club for the rich and famous of the world, including Hollywood movie stars and entrepreneurs, while the names like Rothschild and Bismarck soon became known in the area. In the 60s, Prince Alphonsus hired a US architect and friend of Spanish dictator General Franco to develop what would become Puerto Banús. It opened in 1970 with names like Grace Kelly, Julio Iglesias and Aga Khan among the guests at the opening. As a result, many major names became frequent visitors to the area. Among those were the Saudi king Fahad, but also a former CIA agent by the name of Osama bin Laden. Sadly, Marbella also suffered issues like embezzlement problems with their mayor, politician and builder Jesus Gil, a man who was also president of Atletico Madrid until his death in 2004. Marbella has 27 kilometres of beaches split into different sections. Nearby cities are also accessible by bus: Estepona, Torremolinos, Fuengirola and Gibraltar. The city still holds a beautiful old town and an historic area which include 10 Salvador Dali sculptures. The famous Golden Mile is home to some of the major luxury villas and hotels. Some of the famous residents on and off over time include Sean Connery, George Clooney and Novak Djokovic, but perhaps the most famous person actually born in the city is this young actress.
Hi, I'm Millie Bobby Brown and I play 11.
Millie Bobby Brown was born in Marbella in 2004 and has gone on to star in major works, but is best known for playing the character 11 in the amazing show Stranger Things. Costa Gaels was founded in 2001 and is recognised as Spain's first GAA club. And the man you're going to meet now, the amazing storyteller and all-round sound guy Justin Parks, was among its first members.
But I'm going to let him tell you all about it, and tell you all about himself and much, much more. You'll definitely enjoy this one. Justin, how are you?
How are you, boy?
Not too bad. How are things?
Not so bad.
How's all out in
Shit
Spain?
day.
Yeah, I see that,
yeah. Yeah, see that thing there? That big fucking ball of dirt.
I wouldn't know what that is, to be honest.
How's things there, man?
Yeah, good, yeah. It's funnily enough, the sky actually looks quite similar to yours, actually, in many ways. So it's unusual
Lads are
enough.
saying it. Sweating, lad. I'm sweating. I'm sitting here burning, so I haven't even got cream on. My God.
You're sweating in a nice looking jersey, though, in fairness. You could do worse.
I'm telling you. Yeah, proper order, innit? Yeah.
No, I got to start slightly differently, I suppose, because you're the first person that I've interviewed who's had a full-on article about them on the GA website, and as myself, someone who's written history books and stuff. I have to ask a little bit just about your early days up the north of Ireland and how things were, because some of the stories I read about you been targeted. Your home was targeted. Your father was targeted, and one of the stories which I was like, this is insane, but walking out of a pub on the Falls Road and a grenade comes in the window a few minutes later. What was all that like growing up?
I mean, whenever you're living it, I've sort of mentioned it in various, bits and bobs, and then when you're chatting with the lads, it kind of becomes all of a mix whenever you're telling people, but it just was. It's just the way it was. Yeah, we didn't know any different, and I grew up not knowing any different, and that's the trouble, because I was born in 78, so the troubles were sort of in full swing by the stage I was going, and probably arguably worse at that stage than they were. They actually started the don't want to say format change, club talk, like, but the whole the whole thing shifted politically, ideologically, and all the rest of it, and the bombing campaigns were going, and tit for tat was happening, and and it just was on the news as much as the scores for the local game came on in the evening, like, and we had access to British TV, which at the time was only the 4 channels, 1, 2, BBC, ITV, and all that. And then you had your regional stuff, Ulster TV, and that was just constant local, this happened, that happened, street name, this and that, but that was never broadcast in the UK or England. Like, that was just for us. But we also had RTE and RTE2. So the only it was a very strange thing whenever I look back at it, that the way the media reported on it and the way the media reports on things is, whenever you see it on the news every night, it's happening locally, that's the way it is. You think everyone knows that. No, they don't. RTE didn't report the same way as Ulster TV reported. And by God, Thames or Midlands TV or whatever, it might have been, or pick a country, wasn't reporting in the same way. That was just it was only whenever there was a huge event, something really notable happened, like the Oma bomb. Yeah. That made headlines outside of the province. But the day-to-day stuff was just there. And because it was always constantly in your face, it was normal. It just was normal. I'm waiting for a loaf. Oh, your man got shot. Oh, right, grand. What do you want me to pick up? Pot and milk as well? Okay, fair enough. And you didn't bat an eyelid at it. But and it's strange today too, because the sort of last 18 months that we've went through is similar, but not the same, if you know what I mean. There's been this prevalent sort of oppression and fear out there. You're not really sure what's going on. You don't sort of know the crack. And in fact, when the troubles were going, you knew the crack. You knew when the 12th of July was coming up, there was going to be a kickoff on the 11th night, or this was going to happen, or that was going to happen. It was structured. It was insane whenever you put it like that and you think about it. Parades were being this, and that was being that, and such was being cut off from here, and your man got chucked out of that pub because he was Catholic, or he wasn't allowed into that area because he was Protestant, and it just got so completely normalized. You just got on with your day to day, because for me, you and the average man on the street, or family in the town, you have to get up in the morning, go to work, make your money, and rock on. And I suppose the sort of overarching thing for me was, obviously, because my dad was RUC, there may have been a different level to it as well. that was normal to me.
Yeah.
That I didn't understand, that other people, it wasn't normal to them. So it was like, oh, don't mention what your dad does, or you know, don't be going shouting about this and that, because you had to be careful.
Mm.
You know, you had to. And as it turns out, as it mentioned in that article on the GA, yeah, he got targeted, and the family got targeted. And it was a very surreal story to hear whenever you grew up a wee bit, and sort of you'd be sitting around, because every family in Ireland's the same. You'll go and visit granny, you'll go to the farm, you'll go here, you'll go around the neighbours or whatever, and you're all sitting around with a cup of tea, and it's just passing the day chatting, and you hear and you hear, and you sort of cop on, and then you hear the news and you cop on, and you know, you realise that this isn't normal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then when you grow up a wee bit and sort of hit 16, 17, and you rebel a wee bit, which was fun. And I think it's part of our culture too. You got to rebel.
Yeah.
But you know, you rebel as a teenager, and normal teenager does. It's not like you're running off, and nowadays, I guess the status quo is to join the Taliban. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that. It was more about music and general life, and defining yourself and picking your route through life and your studies and all that stuff. The normal things any teenager does. And then you form your political opinions, and probably your religious opinions come through at that stage as well, I guess.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And you could see in that era, which would have been the sort of early 90s, obviously religion across the board dropped in importance. Politics is, I guess, in the last sort of 5 or 10 years has risen in importance. But you would be playing with mates and all the rest of it, and suddenly the question would come up after 16 or 17 years. Oh, what religion are you? Never asked this before. You never seen them on a Sunday, maybe because you were at one church, or they were at mass, or they're this and that, and people had their things to do on a Sunday. And suddenly you got chatting about it. And then you realize how similar everything is, but just there's these wee differences in between.
Yep.
And then you just, as a rebellious sort of teenager, you blow it off. You go, well, that's not for me. Bollocks this.
Yeah.
You know, if it was religion for us that was more, I guess, for my generation, which was more the thing that we considered to be the problem. Wasn't the politics.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The politics was secondary. It was like, oh, it comes from religion. That's the basis that this whole thing was based on. Me and you are great mates. What difference does that make? I don't care if you're Muslim or Jew or whatever the hell you are.
Yeah.
That's nothing. But when it comes to politics, you can have a difference of opinion, because everyone does. That's politics. You know, and by God, we all have a difference of opinion nowadays.
Everyone, nobody has the same two opinions, I think, anymore.
Yeah, well, everyone's a bloody expert on nuclear subs and Mars landings, and you bloody name it now, like, so.
Yeah.
So
I like to consider myself an expert on the Mars landings. Yes.
Tell me. Yeah, they never happened. Well, of course they didn't happen. Maybe they did. I don't know. Who cares? Man?
You can see the strings on it. You can see the strings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all tinfoil and freaking Sesame Street shite. Like so. Yeah. So yeah, it you know, there was no sort of big revelation. It was just a process that I think everyone goes through at some stage. You make your decisions, and you dedicate yourself to certain things, and you follow certain routes, and you go. And my route happened to be, I like people. I like helping people. I think we're all better together. You know, the whole European ideal, which is confounds us, I guess, about Brexit, as one of them things that sort of happened there that you can highlight.
Yeah,
is I just don't get it. You know, what is this separation? Because we've all been working towards integration across the board for the last 25, 30 years. And it's been great. I mean, it's okay, there's bad aspect to it. House prices aren't exactly ideal or whatever, like, you know what I mean? But jobs are good, and people get relatively well paid, and there's things that we deal with. And those are the more important things as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You know, how we get on and how we just get through the day, and at some point through all this shite, have a beer and a laugh. You know, just take the mick out of each other, and you have to have thick enough skin whenever you're me in a club with a load of lads, like, and and I give as good as I get, obviously, and that just raises the bar for the banter.
Yeah,
and that's part and parcel of it, like, you know.
How thick was your skin then when yourself and a Kerry man formed what is it? Am I right in saying the first GA club in Spain?
It was there was 3 clubs formed in Spain roughly at the same time. That was Barça, Madrid, and ourselves down here in Marbella. But much to their horror and disgust, we were the first ones to officially register with the GAA.
Yeah.
By a hair's breadth. So we claim the title as the first GA club in Spain.
Perfect,
on an official capacity. And that was in I guess it was around 2002, more or less 2001, 2002. This sort of sprung up. And that's exactly what I was saying, just mentioning there about Europe. Things opened up. Suddenly you could go to France or you could go to Germany, and people started to realize that, and that generation came through, and this must be the 15th or 16th Irish diaspora. As it goes, we just knock them out and send them out. And people moved and found jobs, and businesses developed, and they ended up in Madrid and Barca and this and that, and there was cells of people living there, and communities were formed, and football became something that we brought with us.
Yep.
You know, so to be clear, I didn't actually form the club. I joined the club as it was formed.
Okay.
It was Jed O'Connor and from Churchill and Kerry, and 2 fellas from Tullysarn and Armagh, Pat and Philip Conlon.
Okay.
And Seamus Woolley from Wicklow, who are all still really good mates of mine. Actually, we're still in touch and they're still connected to the club. But it was them that instigated it and got it off the ground and brought me into this world of hell and administrative disgust and horrible, crazy work that I love to this day. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
And what brought you out to Marbella in the first place?
I always resist just saying a big airplane, because people just look at me and go, cheeky her.
That's the answer I give.
I'm not going to say a big airplane. I was in Belfast for 4 years studying at the University of Ulster, and that's when I met the guys that I mentioned in the article on the GA there. Jared, who was actually over there a couple of weeks ago visiting with the family.
Okay.
So we were out knocking around with him and the kids and catching up, and then Finton, and then this other big orange man from Fermanagh, who was the fourth part of the fourth string in the quartet. And we just formed this weird group where we would get a few jars in, and Finty being very Republican and an Irish Gaelic speaker would get ripped into John Lunny for being a big flat-footed gobshite farmer. And me and Jared would kind of be sitting in the middle with our slightly right-left leanings and sort of getting all around then, lads, this is fun. Just watching them trying to deal with it. And I've lost touch with John Lunny actually a wee bit. I must look him up again and see how he's doing. So that
if he's
sort of
listening,
happened.
we'll put the shout out to him here.
Oh, he won't be listening, I can guarantee. He probably think he'll burst into flames if he heard this here. The GAA, Justin, what the fucking hell? For Jesus. Oh, and he'll be off in one fucking. Actually, I must send it to him. Just wind him up.
You should for the crack.
Oh, absolutely. So 4 years in Belfast, hanging around with the lads, studying, trying not to party too much, but partying too much. Actually, the experience. Now, I was born in Derry. I'm not going to say Derry, London. Derry, it was Derry City. I was born there.
Okay.
But I was only there a year, so it wasn't a city experience. And then getting back into Belfast, back into the big smoke, the big city, and after coming out of the sort of local town, it's like everyone who's home moving to Cork or Galway or Dublin. It's just a different experience altogether. But you end up living and meeting a lot of people, and I found the folks from Belfast, for all the problems that were there and all the weird cultural stuff that happened, and it was very distinctive there because it was a mass of people. It was, you walk through one neighborhood, it's red, white, and blue.
Yeah. You
walk around a corner across the street, and it's green, white, and gold. And don't use this taxi firm because they're them, and that's us, and you get savvy to it very quick. And we lived on the edge of a Proddy estate in West Belfast because it was cheap.
Oh yeah.
I actually remember a couple of guys tried to do us in one night. I think we had beer, and they wanted it. We sorted them out, and the cops came around the corner and stopped. And I says, "Your man just tried to mug us there. Want to do something about it, like?" And he went, "What are you doing around here?" And I went, "Fuck, I live here." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well," I says, "I'm a student at the Ulster University, like, and I've digs here, like, I live here." He goes, "You should probably move." I says, "Oh, fucking off your head, like, move where? Why? I'm perfectly happy here.
Wow.
That's nothing to do with it." I'm talking to this guy who's away off like a hammer's down the road, and he's just mugged me, or he's tried to mug us or whatever, like, and he's started hassle. Do you want to do? And they drove off.
Wow.
And I was like, if I really wanted to, I could have went to daddy and complained and did this and that.
What's the point, really?
Everybody else.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But it was a weird experience to sort of see that.
Yeah.
It was just sort of a weird interaction to sort of have.
Yeah, it's very deep, kind of, when you're in it, because like I remember going up to, we've relations in Carrickfergus and in Whitehead. And,
oh, you're lucky, man.
Yeah, you'd always just be, my dad, like, or my parents would just be kind of, we've got the Southern Reg car was always the big thing of where you park the car. Yeah, that was always the big thing, where we parked the car. So we come back and the car is still there, hopefully. So, it's mad when you hear it like firsthand and that close up. Yeah, it's.
But that's one of the wee things that sort of adds to the it's just another paragraph in the things that affect you, like, and you go, well, if that was me, and as far as I was concerned, I'm not an idiot. I'm not out causing trouble that night. I'm doing the normal sort of student thing, and if that's the way that the peelers, as we call them, interact with the sort of general population and this sort of level of whatever.
Yeah. Too bad.
What else is happening, like, and they're far too busy with the troubles or this or that. Just whatever, let it off, go on.
Yeah.
And you only mention it on occasions like this whenever it occurs to you again. It's just one of them weird ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
So no, 4 years in Belfast, hanging around the lads, doing that, finished uni. It was that weird time as well, which was interesting, was that the internet was only starting.
Oh yeah.
2000.
Yeah.
People were still trying to figure out what this thing was. It was the thing. Yeah. Oh, you can book your flights online, or you can do that. It was ridiculously complicated and stupid at the time, because there wasn't the technology, and you still had to phone such and such, or do it through a travel agent, or go the old ways, like. But that changed things as well, because it opened up opportunity for a lot of us who were just coming through there. I ended up doing that as a living, web development and business development online. Right. Which is why I run half the goddamn websites in Iberia and do all that shit for just the way it worked out. But I fell in with a fella, Bruce Irwin, who was sort of the same as myself, wanted to get out of Belfast for a while and spread his wings. And he just said to me one day, let's just go to Marbella. And there was no Google Maps. I had no idea what Marbella was. And a clue. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Get out of here. Fuck it. That's it. This chapter's done. I'm finished. Love Belfast. Absolutely love the people. Met some fantastic people. Really genuine, fun, mental, absolute fucking rockets. Yep. Like, but the crack was 90. And it's got this sort of special place in my heart. But enough was enough. So
had to go,
we went from one contrast to another. Arriving in the south coast of Spain, Mediterranean village, whitewashed town, Spanish chilled out mentality after coming from Duck Run. What the fuck? What was that noise? Oh, Jesus, a grenade went into the pub. Oh, such and such, and the language barriers and the cultural barriers and this big eclectic mix of people that you get down here from everywhere.
You're avoiding grenades in a pub, and they're taking siestas in the middle of the day.
There was a bomb went off in Marbella a year after I arrived.
Okay.
It wasn't me, just to be clear. It was actually, it was Etta.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it was, 19 years ago.
Okay.
And it happened down on the front of Marbella, and there was a car bomb. Don't know what it was. It could have been other stuff, not just political. Do you know what I mean? Got a lot of that sort of real world things going on.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing the poof, and I went, oh, their bomb went off. And I started walking towards it to see what the crack was. And all these people were tearing and herring past me. And there was a woman collapsed in the supermarket I heard later, heart attack, shock and fear. And I was down there long, bought a can of Coke, down the road, joking around me, looking to see what was going on. And sure enough, there, the cops over here, there's no messing with the cops over here, like.
Okay.
They were straight down, big barrier. You could see this smoldering wreck of a car. And it was obviously one of them intimidation bombs.
Yeah.
It wasn't there to do damage. It was there just to shock and scare. Yeah. And I remember in broken, horrible Spanish, giving it up and just speaking to the cop in English. What's going on, big man? Usual. Stand there. Hey, yo, what's going on? And the cop goes, you back. Get away. And I went, is that a bomb? And he goes, yep, bomb, back, dangerous, because he obviously is not fluent in English either. And I went, is there going to be another one? And he goes, and he looks at me, and I swear no word of a lie, about 20 seconds later, I could see the mic going on his thing, saying there's been a phone-in warning, there's been another bomb threat in the town, move everyone. And the look he gave me, I just went, right, big man, time to go. Good luck.
He's there going, this is the lad who phoned it in a few minutes ago.
I know. And like, you're sitting there walking away going, Jesus, I'm experiencing this. Do you know what I mean? I know what's going on here, like.
Yeah.
And it was just so normal and natural. But this cop who's been down in this sleepy town and all the rest of it, first major incident sort of thing, and they're not thinking about that because of all the shit that we've been through or all the crack that's happened, like.
And how did you attract? How did you attract people into a GA club then via that story?
Well, I actually think the stories that people bring into the club themselves and the stories that are formed within a club, like, oh my God, I just wish I'd wrote or recorded stories and tales that are told, or was able to extract memories that you have of nights out and games and after parties and helping a lad out or helping you out or whatever, and just put them into some sort of movie. Because some of the stuff is just you couldn't write it, like, it's classic. So you've got Paddy the butcher from Ballymoney hanging out with a high-end financial banker from Dublin who works in Jib, and them two are just like flies around shite. They're as soon as they meet up, they wouldn't speak, they wouldn't talk, they wouldn't hang out. But whenever there's a club match or whatever, we all have barbecues and go to the pub after and try and hang out with the other clubs because it's important for us, You would find the two of them sitting over in the corner, sculling beers and getting absolutely fucking shit-faced. And I have scared to go over actually and get involved in the conversation because I can't imagine
what they're talking
the depths that it would go to. You just cut its head off, and then the banker would be going, yeah, we do that too, and that's just, oh my Jesus, so some of the conversations you kind of wish you'd heard, and some of them, whenever you did hear them, you wish you bloody hadn't.
Yeah, I know.
So getting lads in, I mean, there's a relatively transient movement of people here, but there's a core base of folks that are after this amount of time are sort of well ingrained and well involved in the club. And you had people from all over, though. So in the article, did I read there was one training session with just you and, is it Achilles? Yeah, from Iraq. Just the two of you were training one night. Achilles has been floating around there. He's been in the Irish news from time to time, just because he's a bit like me. He's a bit stand out, a bit weird. He's not norm. So he got kicked out of Iraq when the war happened, or ran, whatever it was.
Okay. Yeah.
And he ended up in Spain and watching GA matches on the local Irish bar that he worked in every Sunday while he was waiting for the Sunday lunches to happen.
Yeah.
And fell in love with the hurling.
Wow.
And has become fanatical about it. He's sort of the club mascot in a certain way. He's a bit too old to be playing and whatnot, but he'd still turn up for training the odd time. But yeah, if he said he was going to be there, he was there. And he's got photos with him with, Jesus, half Kilkenny and half a Tipperary hurling squad. And I think he's got 32 counties of jerseys signed All Ireland winners. He had the referees in after. Oh God, what year was it? When was the run with Kilkenny and Tip were playing each other year on, year off in the hurling? 07, 08, 09?
Yeah, the late 0-0s, yeah.
Late noughties, yeah. Mm. There was one of them, he was a big tip man, because the fella that got him into it, Gordon Loughnane, he's a tip man. So he was always for Tipperary, it was his team, Achilles. And he used to run around saying random things to people like, we're going to pull the whiskers off the cats and stuff. And we knew what he was talking about, but no one else had fucking notion. But he was working in a small cafe on the week after the hurling final, and 4 fellas came in and pulled out the Irish Times and ordered 4 fry-ups. And Achilles clocked this and sort of went, all right, lads, how are you? What's the crack?
Yeah.
And the lad said, grand, yeah, how you? Sort of, oh, you're Achilles goes, yeah, he says, I'm the chairperson of Baghdad GAA. No, sorry, no, he didn't say that yet. He says, I know you, to one of the lads. And the lad went, how did you do that? And he says, you were the ref in the All-Ireland final last week, Tipperary and Kilkenny. And your man's face just dropped. And Achilles, this is when Tip won. Or no, this is when Kilkenny won. Achilles leans over to him and goes, you fucking robbed us. Do you want a cup of tea? And of course, the 3 other lads roared. And then they got chatting to him, and he says, no, we've made him the sort of the head of Baghdad GAA unofficially.
That's amazing.
We're speaking to Asia to see if they ever form a Baghdad GAA, if we can put him in there as a
that would be brilliant. Yeah.
Delight him. Oh, it would make him over the moon. He would be.
I'm trying to think who was refereeing that one, because one of my neighbours here is Barry Kelly, and Barry refereed one of those games. I just can't remember.
Could well have been him, I'll ask if he is. I'll get that info over there.
I'll text Barry later on. I'll call over to Barry's house and ask him and see if he remembers.
Have you ever met an Iraqi in Marbella? Yeah, he'll know. He'll remember.
That's quite an open line to ask somebody you've ever met in Iraqi in Marbella. Yeah. I love that one.
Deadly.
What kind of other people have you got involved? Other nationalities?
We have a set of problems that we have to deal with down here. One is that we're really, really spoiled.
Okay.
Fact, right? You have 300 days of sunshine, and you're living in a place which is, it's obviously got that massive advantage of good weather. And by spoiled, I mean, what can I possibly do to convince some 15, 18, or 25-year-old fella to stop playing golf, to stop playing paddle, to stop going boating and yachting every day, to stop going surfing, to stop going skiing, you name it.
Yeah,
you're spoiled for choice. So what can I possibly offer that person to come and play this mad game where you might break a finger and it's kind of rugby, but it's not rugby? Because that's the default too. Oh, it's rugby. No. Oh, it's not soccer. I can see that. It looks kind of like basketball, but it's not.
Yeah.
What is it? And it's like, shut up. It's Irish football, lads. It's Gaelic football. That's what it is. And you struggle to, obviously with language barriers and cultural barriers, you don't have that feed in from the church or the school or the ingrained part of the GA culture, but that's exactly what we're trying to establish. More so than a football club is where it started, but we always says we were a drinking club with a football problem.
Great line.
Yeah, so I think I was Philip Collins, is that the way one night? The football's there, and it's sort of the thing that we revolve around, and we do a bit of hurling too, but the hurling we can't do because of facilities, and our pitch sits perpendicular to a motorway, so one fella slaps a slitter over that there, and we're talking deaths.
Yeah.
So you have to account for this, and you haven't got the nets and all this stuff, and you try and build this solid community, and you reach out first to the Irish guys and say, this is happening, this is what we're doing, and set up your training and make it regular and make it local, and start carpooling, and your WhatsApp group with 50, 60, 70 people in it, but you realize later that 35 of them are over 60 and they're just in there for the crack, and you actually have a bunch of players of about 15 or 20, you know, the guts of a team. And we play 11-a-side in Europe as well, because we're always using rugby or you know, Astro or whatever.
Yep.
So you just have to start leaning on the lads in the club and focusing on getting that solidified. And we've done that. And it's taken 15 years. It's getting easier and easier to build and set up clubs. That's part of the stuff we have to deal with, administrative stuff. And, you know, if you wanted to set up a club in your town in Spain or in, you know, Germany or in France, what are the steps and where's the support and how you do it? Because it's a hell of a lot of work. Like, you know, it's a ton of work to do, and dealing with different aspects of legalities and, you know, local town halls and facilities and all the rest of it. The logistics of it all, you know, but you try and refine it and make it simple, because you want things to be as simple as you can for yourself. And as long as you have that core of players, then you build on that. And the big thing that solidified us was always the kids club.
Okay.
And it was one of those revelations where we've been knocking around, and the financial crisis, we took a dip. We were out for a year, much like the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, the whole world reset in a certain way, but not as dramatically as it has recently. And we came back after it, and we were standing one day, and I think one of the lads mentioned he was getting dog's abuse about buggering off every Sunday for 3-4 hours, because we always have beer after training. Like, yeah, I'll tell you a story about that after too. So you'd sit around and catch up, have a bit of crack, and that would be your, you know, your chill out session for the week, and your sort of catch up with the lads, and after a good sweat. And I was looking around. Philip, you have wee Malachi and the lad there, and, you know, another 2 wee girls coming up, and I've Jake, my wee fella, and he was only 3 at the time. And we just counted round the table, and we had 10 kids. Which is right. Let's start bringing the kids.
Yeah.
And we'll coach them for an hour, and then we're in this big pavilion, you know, this big rugby field, and we just rock on there, lads. There's a bar there. The guy behind the bar has a bill. Rock in, get what you want, get your water, get this and that, write it down, and we'll square it up. And he's going beat the head off each other, and don't come back to me unless something's broken. And that's exactly what they did. Do you know what I mean? And they had a wild time. It was like being out back home on the farm. That was as close as we could get. There's a field, rock on. There's a ball, a bat, you know, and that grew and grew. So Jake's been playing football now since he was 3.
Brilliant.
You know, so all the kids that sort of joined at that stage, they come and go. They take a year off. They go and do something in school or this, or logistically they just can't, you know, get involved. But that's solidified things. And we struggled to start a ladies club because a lot of the parents were working, or one of them was working while the other wasn't, and this and that, and they didn't commit and couldn't commit. And they weren't from a footballing background, maybe, or maybe they were the wives sometimes. Typically, no, not typically. Let's say 50% of the wives are not Irish.
Okay.
It could be from anywhere. So you're starting from scratch again. But just in the last sort of year, I'm not even sure what caused it. I think we just got an influx of younger ones come in, and they all just landed at the right time. And in the last year, our ladies club has just exploded, and we now have 20 ladies. You know, either spouses, couples, girlfriends, or just girls who are friends, just single girls. Just suddenly, there was no rhyme or reason to it. There's no focus on doing it, because we tried, and we said, look, if it's going to happen, it'll happen. And suddenly, sort of keep cajoling them and saying, come on, go and do a bit of training. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be football. You know, get together with the girls there. You know, we'll coach you, do a bit of running, do this, do that. You know, use the facilities. They're there. Use them.
Come and watch even.
All right, whatever. Yeah. Well, we're too busy looking after the kids when they're training, and then you swap. You know. Yeah, but this is the way it works. Do you know what I mean? This is the beauty of it. Like, and it's just clicked. And things have escalated there, sort of over the last year. It stayed solid, which is always a worry that it's going to come, and then suddenly you're going to have 4 girls who, you know, maybe one, but they've stuck in, they've mucked in, they've set their structures up. You know, we've supported them. They've come to us with what their needs are. We've got the footballs, we've got the bibs, we've got gear, we've got the time on the pitch. You know, we've sorted out all the fee structure. We've joined the rugby club this year.
Okay.
The big shift that we had this year was by joining the local rugby club and integrating in to become part of them. It made them stronger with a bigger voice, because they have a bigger registration base.
Yep.
And instead of us being our only club with 50 or 100, suddenly we were joining and making a 400 or 500 club stronger by another notch. But it put our feet under the table and gave us a voice, and we're not just coming and renting the pitch anymore. We're actually part of their club. And then insurance things and being part of a bigger group and being covered by liability this and options for that and yada yada yada. So that's helped as well, because now the girls specifically at the moment is on a Sunday morning they'll train from 10 to 11, then from 11 to 12 they'll play rugby.
Brilliant.
That's just training.
Yeah.
And then we'll look after the kids from 10 till 11. And then some of the girls who don't do the rugby keep an eye on the weigh-ins. And then we start our training at 11 and we train from 11 to 1. And then we get everyone together, and usually one of the lads in the rugby club's typically an Argentinian. That makes them pretty handy at the barbecue stuff. So the barbecue gets fired up and suddenly it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you're langered.
Yep.
And the morning training was a complete waste, but it was great crack. It's really hard to simplify it. And I don't actually want to say that there wasn't some. I mean, the committee formed and the guys on the committee that I'm working with now have really stepped up to the mark, and you learn as well by taking on the responsibility. You have to be a wee bit of a dictator. You can't just sort of go, oh, I'll give you that role, you'll know what to do. People need help and they need guidance, and you have to be available, and you can only be as fair as you can be, but flexible as you can be. And the guys have said, no, we want this now. This is our thing. We want to take and drive this forward. So the girls are doing that. The kids is growing. We had 100 people out there on Sunday morning.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, just to sort of see it and looking at it, and I took a beat for a moment and just looked around me and went, the fuck have I done? And then somebody wanted the nets fixed or couldn't find the pump for the footballs or whatever, so you were way off again, but yeah, 3 groups of kids, toddlers up to 3 or 4, then the minors from sort of 5 to 10, and then the 10s plus, and all the lads are sort of getting mucked in and coaching here and coaching there, and it's and sun cream and good weather and fantastic scenery behind you, and the Mediterranean just around the corner, which you use for a cold dip after. Part of life, boys. Hit my life.
I know.
How
do you get the you were mentioned just before we kind of started chatting about the fundraising side, then, since you have gathered such numbers, what's the plan then? Fundraising?
I mean finances are always tough, because especially we still consider ourselves like a startup club. We're not an established club. We don't have 100 grand in the bank. We're not any club close to that sort of size. If we're breaking even on the year, we're doing well.
Okay.
So we had to find ways to do that. So, the GGE exists here, which is the Gaelic Games Europe County Board. I've been involved with that at different stages and in different ways and different capacities over the last couple of years. And they're brilliant. They'll work with you and do what you can. Obviously, there's complications that they're dealing with at a higher level. That's a given. But whenever things come up that are access to funding or processes to apply for funding through the Foreign Affairs Department, the DFA grants are great, and we say we're going to focus in on doing that and applying this funding to that. In my world, a lot of people look at me funny sometimes, but in my world, you get a couple of grand. And there's only so far you can stretch that. But you make every penny count, If they ever sort of realize, and then they are starting to cop on because of this growth of clubs out there, that the next logical step for Ireland and the GAA after England, after the big setup of clubs there, is Europe. I mean, it's huge potential, massive. If they make those commitments and put in serious dough in certain specific ways, not just lash money at it and hope for the best, but in youth camps, in raising the bar of the training and the coaching and the people who are already in there and dedicated. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't say I'll put my hat on that and say in the next 10 years I could see a European club coming in the way London Irish did and competing. And that would mean considering structures again and looking at the way that the whole thing's played and calendars. Yay, more calendars. Playing time and county and provincial and the whole shebang. But it also opens up opportunities for Irish clubs who we've hosted a whole pile of them over the years. You know, too many to list. Round Towers, Dublin, and Tullysaran we've had over, and oh God, with various European clubs who are more inclined to travel because of the distances. So you have to find funding for that too. Yeah, fellas self-fund a lot of the time, and you're looking for the cheapest flights, and you know, you have a hostel that you'll stay in with all the lads together for 15 quid or 20 quid a night. You know, just to keep it right. That's one way. So you've got your normal sort of routes of you know, going through the existing institutions and the existing bodies to get this. You've got to reach out to the local community. So, you know, our Biddy Mulligans obviously have been a massive sponsor of us for years, involved in the club. Hogan Stand and San Pedro as well. A couple other bars. God, it wouldn't be fair to list them all, but the guys have really stepped up, and you ask them for a few quid and they put their hand in their pocket and they help you out, and then they get involved in the clubs, their kids involved, and they understand what that investment is, and you give them back their support, thank them for it too, because they don't have to do it, you know.
Real GAA community thing.
Oh, big time, like, and we've sort of opened up the door now and sort of said, well, why can't anyone who wants to sponsor it's what do you give them in return? Because you have your main sponsor who's got the name on the top, and that's the prime thing that everyone sort of wants. But maybe the ladies want to be sponsored by somebody else, or maybe this, or maybe that, and you have to start thinking about what that means. And you have to give first choice to your sponsors, and you have to do this, and you have to go through a sort of diplomatic process of figuring out what's best for them and for you, you know, because it's good for them at the end of the day too. It's but in a different way. And then I mentioned there before we sort of started about lottos and stuff that we do in Ireland that are these sort of local things. Now, logistically, we tried that a few times, and you can have the odd event, but most of the events center around, you know, some sort of day event, going to the beach or doing this and that. And you're looking after kids, or you have a big group, and you're not there to raise funds, and you're not everyone's centralized around a 5 square mile area with a local pub that everyone goes to. You know, when we have lads who travel 2-3 times a week to training, and they'll get buses, planes, trains, and taxis to get here, and they'll travel, you know, 40 minutes to an hour and a half, because Marbella is slap bang in the middle. So you've got you know, 40 minutes to an hour one side, 40 minutes to an hour on the other. And then you say, well, for those guys in that town called Estepona to go up to that town called Acala is an hour and a half journey.
It's a longer trip.
They're never, you know, they meet in the middle with us, and we all have a beer and we catch up and we know each other then. But they're not going to go up there, drive up there to have a few pints. And taxis are ridiculously expensive and stuff for that type of thing, unless there's a wedding or, you know, a big event. So we had to address it and say, right, what do? We can't walk around with this sort of tickets, and who keeps them, and where's the money go, and it's cash, and then that has to be held, and then somebody's responsible for it, and then the pubs will dip into it for change, and suddenly it's a pot of notes, and then that's a real temptation for that to disappear, and you know, how much was it, and where is it?
I don't know where it is.
You know, and exactly. So we looked into it a wee bit, and because of my background in the business online, we set up a digital club draw. Which was just a subscription online. It's on the website, guys. Sign up. It's great.
Everyone sign up.
Everyone sign up now. Find you and kill you. You basically name, address, and kneecap size, lads. Basically, you can sign anyone up from anywhere. This is the thing. So you know, you're sitting with the lads, and you go, I'd love to support the club or whatever. Yep, fine. There. Stick your details in. Stick your card in there. Oh, I don't want to do it on your phone. Okay, I'll send you the link. Open the web page, fill in your credit card or your debit card, and it subscribes them for $5 a month.
Brilliant.
And you know, they get invited to all the events, and they get told about what we're doing, and they get photos, and they you know, we have a big social group, sort of a community group where everyone gets added to who's supporting the club. So if somebody needs somebody to fix the lights in the house, oh well, there's Joe, he's a Sparky, he'll come down and fix it. Or you know, how do I deal with this with some Spanish sort of system that I'm not familiar with, to change that to that, documents to this and that. Oh, here, I have someone you can use, or accountants, you know, you name it. Like you've sort of got that access then. And that's really, really proven to be a lifesaver for us, because for a £5 a month for all the stuff we do, folks sign up. We do a prize draw every month. Some of the money comes out of that pot, goes to it, and the rest of it gets dumped back into the club to pay for pitches or buy more footballs, or just do things that the club needs. So that's after your subs, which go to basically pay your pitches and cover your costs, keep the space. Your grants are usually for something very specific, and set up a hurling club or promoting something, for putting on a day for the kids from a local Spanish school to get them in and introduce them to the games or whatever. So yeah, that's worked out really, really well. And then what we're doing now, because we've sort of got into it, we understand it, we can then, Galicia did this really well in the north of Spain.
Okay.
They didn't go for a sponsor, they went for 100 sponsors.
Right.
So instead of saying, to one sponsor, give us $1,000 or $5,000 or $100,000 or whatever, a bulk of money, they went, right, well, it's community, so let's get everyone involved. So they went around all the local businesses and said, sponsor us for €25 a month each.
Right. Yeah.
So suddenly you get 100 businesses signed up at 25 a month each, and they get A, B, and C. Whatever that is, you define this is what you're paying into, and this is what you're supporting. So then you're on $2,500 a month. Then over a year, but that gets them invested as well, you see. Because then you know who they are, and they're throwing some money at it, and they want to come down and see it, and suddenly they're bringing their kids, and to me it was just genius, because it just fits with the whole. Sub everyone, but have something you can give back for that sub, rather than hitting somebody for a big pot of money.
Yeah.
And hanging them on the hook for it, and then being on the hook for it as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to open that up now, and we're just putting a wee plan together to offer something like that.
That sounds brilliant, yeah.
Because anyone then, see, for me, right, I would sign up for a £5, me personally, and then I would sign my business up for 25, because then I get the benefit of my business getting shouted about within the club and pushed around. And for me, I have to sign up with fucking chairman, no choice. £5 a month.
The benefits.
Scumbags. It's the worst thing ever. A Protestant handing out money all the fucking time. Like, it's just ridiculous. So anyway, so we solved that. So I'm also, like I was saying just this morning, writing up a way for other clubs throughout Europe to understand that, and give them instructions and a bit of technical feedback on what the costs are and what the difficulties are and what you have to consider, and get that integrated into their sites, because it's been a lifesaver for us. Being able to be self-sufficient, because anyone who's in business or understands fundraising as well knows that if you have 100 fundraisers and you lose 3, your club hasn't gone down overnight. You sell 5. Let's get them back. Let's do this, let's do that, or whatever, replace them or bring it in, and there's no paperwork. It's all online. It's this, it's that, and it's sort of easy. So I have half my mates back home in Northern Ireland paying £5. They have no idea what they're paying for. They've just been tried. And I actually work with a load of Canadians, and I have 3 or 4 of them signed up for it. Never fucking seen a game in their life. Just been told, go here, sign up to that now. Fucking, if you don't, I'll kill a puppy or something or whatever. Find a way to convince them. Like,
they don't want to say no to you. I'd say.
They don't want to say no, because they'll have to listen to me, for God's sake. And you just have to be. It comes naturally to me. You just have to be that annoying bollocks like all the time. Like, so
there's no harm in doing that. I'm very good at putting that.
Not at all.
It's fine. Yeah, it's always it's a good trait to have in a person. So what about on the pitch then? What's the rivalries like with the clubs around you?
Actually, right. So yeah, Europe's massive, obviously, and they're sort of neighborhoods like Brittany in France. So France might have 20 or 30 clubs.
Yeah.
But 60% of them are in Brittany. And Brittany has got this Celtic connection going on there, and they love the whole ethos of the GAA and the community stuff, and they're very community orientated anyway, so it fits, and they're tough fighters as well, like,
that's so I believe
part and parcel. The Germans love hurling.
Oh, I learned that.
Yeah. I don't know what that is, and I think the Finnish and the Norwegians, there was a couple of articles there the other week about our friends up in Norway and Sweden. They were on RTE,
The
doing some
Helsinki
hurling.
lads, yeah, are
Finland,
been run.
and Helsinki, that's what it was. Yeah,
They've been run by a man
first-
from Westmeath, so
There you go. There you go. And they're all running around now because I think in the article or something it mentioned about taking pizzas out of the oven using his hurl.
with the hurl, it's phenomenal.
The hurl, yeah. So they're wearing T-shirts everywhere, you know, pizza hurl and all that stuff, like, and you know, and good crack as well. But the rivalry. So Spain itself is split into 3 regions. You've got Galicia in the north, by 20 clubs. You've got Central East, which is big cities, Barca, Valencia, Madrid, and then a smattering of clubs in between: Zaragoza, Bilbao, Sitges, Gran Sol, Tres Cantos, and they kind of run their subdivision. And then you've got us in the south, and we're Andalusia, and we've got Seville, Gibraltar, ourselves. There's a Malaga ladies team, and the Algarve. One of our lads has moved to the Algarve and set up a club there too. John Thompson from Tyrone. And Lisbon actually exists as a club as well, but
I've been in touch.
They're just in that unfortunate position where they're just slap bang in the middle of bloody nowhere, and we're trying to make, you know, they do invitationals where they'll just travel a couple of times a year and do all that.
Are they in like
rivalries?
Belém or somewhere? Is that what it's called?
Belém. Yeah. So rivalry, like, I mean, I don't think about the Galician clubs. That they're in another province.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play them until the end of the season. I have to focus on Gibraltar and Seville, and we've managed to sort of curate this great on-pitch rivalry with our best mates.
Yeah.
Right. So we love to hate them and we hate to love them.
Yeah.
So on the day of the match, not a word spoken. There's 30 looks. There's a load of the
real GAA match.
Norm, the real GAA stuff, and we will kick 7 shades of shite out of each other on the pitch,
and then have a beer after.
Whatever that 60 minutes, whatever it is, what it is. And then the complaints will come out, and you'll spend half an hour, you know, everyone bitching and moaning and acting the right wazik. And then the beer will come in, and the food will come out, and I'll end up looking after a couple of the kids from the Jib lads while they're off doing something, or the missus isn't about, and they're playing with my kids, and that's when you win. So we have a league. We want to win the league. Whoever wins our league in the Andalusian division, because we've only a few teams. One of us qualifies for the cup. One qualifies for the second place, qualifies for Shield. Galicia have 15, 16 odd clubs, so that 3 of them qualify for the cup, 3 of them qualify for the Shield. And then Central East, well, they're growing, but still only 2 of them qualify for cup and Shield. And then between the 3 of us, we just decide we rotate the location every year. So this year it's actually due to be in Andalusia, or pre-pandemic it was due to be down here. So we don't even know if we'll do that. We might have to give that one up and put it back a year, to put it somewhere central to make it easy for everyone to travel and things to think about. But that one day we will play a blitz, like a World Cup format, you know, with qualifiers and this and that. So the 3 Galician, the 2 Central East, and one of our lot will play 6-way qualifiers, semi-finals, and a final. The ladies will do the same, because the whatever we do in the club, it's not men or ladies, it's both. If you have a men's team and a ladies team, or just a ladies team, that's the date, that's it. Whatever club, whatever squad you have turn up. And then the shield's paid on either, if there's big enough facilities, on the same location or on a separate pitch. So that, if you think about it, that's 6 clubs, averaging 25 per club. You know, there's 150 plus hangers on. There's 200.
Yeah.
And then the shield is the same. So there's 400 of us, plus organisers and umpires and referees. So you could add another 20. So there's like 400 odd people will go to an Iberian final, and we all managed to fucking end up in the same restaurant at the end. So oh, Jesus. You would think that would be a fucking catastrophe waiting to happen, like, but it's actually brilliant. It's such a long day, everyone's shattered, like, and 2 beers and you're beat, like. But I've been in halls there where it's been so big and there's so much crack going on, even when they're giving the speeches, nobody can hear. Like, it's just, they're down the far end and you're just like, oh, whatever. Just hand the cup and hand the shield to the guys that won. And let's get going. And the crack we have with the guy. Now, Galicia is an interesting one because they're nearly all Spanish. I think there's only a couple Irish lads in Galicia play for the various clubs. Like
I've seen some of the clubs on Insta, like is it Filios?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Filios de Brogan, and Coruña and stuff. They're all Galicians, Gallegos, the local name for them, the Gallegos.
Yeah, I couldn't pronounce that.
They're fucking mental, so they are. They're mental, mad crack, like, you know. And they will drink for they'll drink for God and Ulster, like, you know what I mean. They will just get ripped in, and they will, because it's their town that you're maybe visiting or whatever. They will take you by the hand and take you to the best places and make sure that you call in with their uncle Jose, Juan Antonio, or whoever, and he's got this great cider. Some of your man's lashing cider from, you know, standing on a chair, oxidizing cider, and you have your head in a bucket. And you're like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm too old for this. It's just madness. But the pain's gone away. You know what I mean? I don't feel that sore leg anymore. That cramp has disappeared now. But 2 days later, my God, shoot me down, put me down now. You know, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So the rivalry's there, and after the Iberian final, there's the Pan-Europeans. So whoever wins overall the cup then qualifies for Pan-Europeans, and that's why I was saying earlier, Paris Gaels are a very strong outfit. Galicia are rising fast. Brittany are building up strong, and there's a few other parts like Amsterdam and the Netherlands and you know, Belgium. I've got these serious squads sort of floating around there, and you might just see one of them tip in the back door there at some stage, and just, you know, bring a shocker with it, and that'll make it interesting. Why we haven't seen New York or something playing in the All Irelands and stuff, I don't know. I don't know the structure there, actually. I'm not familiar with it, how they would qualify in. Yeah. You know, do you want to see that? Yeah. I want to see Kerry versus New York in a proper game, or Tyrone. Yeah, champions. I'd love that. I have to say that, you know. Well deserved, lads. They deserved it. They won on the day.
Can't argue with it, and it
was got it for Mayo, but
it was predictable enough in some ways the way the game panned out. There was always
not at all hindsight, man. That's hindsight. Nobody knew what was happening that day. Mayo could have just injected.
I knew what was happening. I knew exactly what.
Really? Next time, let me know, will you? I have a bookie I need to speak to.
I just don't like Mayo, so.
The Westmeath Mayo, right? So yeah, there's so much happening in the world outside of the club, but you have to stay focused on your club. But I would encourage, if anyone's listening to this from a club in Ireland, I mean, we set up a company to help facilitate bringing clubs over to cover all of the different things and put group bookings in and benefit from bulk pricing and all that stuff. And that's been going great. On escapeandplay.com, we called it. And we're still we're expanding that and doing boot camps and bringing people over on a fitness and health level. But they will end up getting pissed with them as well. I know, rightly, you know. So if you're a club in Ireland and you're sitting there and maybe your championship's over or whatever, go online, go and look at GaelicGamesEurope.com and look at the clubs that are out there and contact any one of them and say, hey, how's your fixture list? We'd love to come over and play on a weekend.
Yeah,
why not?
That's the way to grow it, isn't it?
That's the way to grow. Now that things have opened up again, and hopefully we're back to it. But getting lads over and sort of the exposure to what's happening outside of the village or outside of the town, and this is there for them because they might move there someday. They might end up getting a job or work or whatever. I'm actually meeting Sean Kelly, who's coming back over. He was in Moscow for 8 years. A lad from, I think he's from Down. Oh, you'll kill me for saying that now. You're from Down, Sean. He's coming over. He was in Moscow Gaels there for a long stretch. So
at the Moscow Shamrocks, is it?
No, it's Moscow Shamrocks. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah, because my mate from home here has set up Seamus Heaney's GAA, who are now the rivals in the city. They're coming on.
There you go.
Weeks. Yeah.
There you go. So you know, so he's coming down for a 2-week stint.
Brilliant.
And he'll come and train with us, and we'll catch up in the crack, and you know, whether he goes back to Moscow or what he's doing and what's the story, and suddenly you're sort of thinking, Jesus, I wonder if Moscow's nice this time of year.
Well, you see, that's kind of it starts with the most random things. Like, even since you mentioned Gibraltar, like when I put up something or other, and like you had Bermuda GA, who my sister-in-law would have originally kind of set up years ago before they became a proper club nowadays, and then Gibraltar and Luleå Gaels in Sweden. And there was a big argument on Instagram, you know, over who was the most remote club kind of thing. And, you know, the chats kind of open up, and suddenly they're like threatening to play each other in Gibraltar in the tournament. Like,
Yeah.
so it's no different, I suppose, to you trying to get the Irish clubs out and come out for the crack as well. You could say that something could take off from it that you wouldn't realise.
Without a doubt. But I think it's good for clubs to see that the GAA exists outside of the hometown too.
Yeah.
And our big thing obviously is the reverse of that is getting clubs into Ireland.
Yeah.
And coming in and doing like a rugby tour, like they do in rugby tour. You throw on a coach and you drive around for 10 days and you play a match every couple of days. And you get to sort of meet the folk and have a bit of crack and see the place. That'll be the next stage for us, is the reverse.
Yeah,
European clubs and getting them over there. And could you imagine a load of swarthy skinned Spanish lads?
Yeah. Because like
rocking out there in Westmeath, like, what are these boys doing in the town?
It's funny you say that, because when I had Stevie and Santiago from Argentina GA on a couple of weeks after, Stevie Cartilage.
They're great guns, aren't they?
Yeah, he's a Buenos Aires man himself, and he sent me a few pictures on WhatsApp a few weeks later, and he said, I found these, you might like them. And I was like, what the hell are these? So I knew they'd been to Ireland in 2013. I knew they'd been to Moycullen, and this picture was him, full Argentina kit, playing Argentina versus Westmeath here, like 2 minutes down the road from me in Cusack Park. But he was playing the bagpipes on the middle of the pitch.
Class.
And he was just absolutely soaked. Class. Like it's that kind of thing that I think we're trying to build on that. And now with COVID going over, people are just dying to travel and dying to get out. So like it's probably the perfect opportunity for the likes of what you're doing to kick on.
I'm saying it on a global level too, because there's clubs all over Canada. I've worked with Canada and helped them build their county board website too. And because they're easy, it's Canadian, it's English. Just help out as whatever way you can. Like, and I mean there must be 20 clubs in Canada.
Yeah.
But so here's something that folks might. Andalucía, what I was saying there about Spain. Andalucía is a province down here. It's the same size as Ireland.
Yeah.
Like, 84,000 square kilometers. It's the same size as Ireland. And we have 3 clubs going great guns.
Yeah.
These boys are spoilt. You're tripping over yourselves for games and matches if you want to, locally. So, reach out and go and help these clubs that are building and supporting, and get a bit of sun, go for a dip.
Yeah.
Eat some
I think it's something definitely to build on. I think it's the perfect time to build on it now in the next, couple of months and stuff, with things coming back to normality, hopefully. So
absolutely. Well, no, they are. That's it. End of story. Yeah. They're coming back to normality because we've no other choice.
We've had enough of it at this stage as well.
All done.
Yeah. The last thing I suppose I'll ask you before, there's a bit of a quick fire round and a couple of other questions at the end. I just want to ask you. But,
here we go.
Yeah. What's the future then for the clubs in like your own, I suppose, Costa Gaels? And do you see yourselves down the line? I know we talked about 10 years time, maybe having teams in the All Ireland. What's the future for your club then?
The immediate short term is to continue as we are. The medium and long term is to really focus on the kids' development and local Spanish players. Grassroots. Yeah. Grassroots. It at the end of the day, we can talk about cups and silverware and big, lording at this and lording at that. Yeah. But I win a cup every Sunday whenever I finish with the football and finish with the kids, and I sit down with the lads and have a beer.
Great way to put it.
That's the win. That's the win. And if that can expand, and God help me, whenever I kick the bucket and the crew that we have on board now move on and it disperses, I want to properly know that this club will still be here in 20, 30, 50 or 100 years. That's the aim, and keep giving what it's given now and keep trying to benefit locally. And it sounds all yada yada, good this, good that.
It is true though. Yeah.
It's no, absolutely it's true. Yeah. It's just, that's just the facts. Like, there's no way around it without making it sound sort of wishy-washy, but taking into account you're in a foreign land, you're in a foreign country at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And having that anchor there is a massive thing to be building off. It's the same as all of us. We all travel. Whenever you go somewhere, you're going to the Irish pub just to see what the crack is.
Yeah.
You're speaking to your man behind the bar there and going, wait, what's the story with getting into there and getting this or getting a table there or going there? How much should I be paying for that? You suss it out in an hour. That's exactly what we are. We're just not a bar. We have a bar later. You have to do some running first. We make you run before we tell you anything. You know what I mean? And get the whips out. Come on, boy, faster.
Yeah,
you can do it better. So the future is to not really reach too far ahead, to stay grassroots, to stay focused, to stay stable, and to keep building. Ideally, one of the big dreams for us is actually just to have a home ground. Actually get a piece of land. Now, land as a whole, a different issue down here as everywhere. But the rugby club in Marbella have been brilliant. But their pitch gets so overused by the time it hits sort of April. You're playing on green. You may as well paint it green. It's just hard earth.
Yeah.
Nobody complains. We muck on with it. Yeah. There's no one out with health and safety rods seeing if the depth of the soils and the grass is high enough. There isn't any.
Yeah.
It's either that or nothing, boys. Rock. Come on. Now they've been brilliant, but we want to keep developing that, and that's where we see our future, is just stabilizing it, giving us a home ground, welcoming clubs from abroad, but grassroots, local Spanish integration.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, it sounds like you're definitely on the right direction. There's a few quick fire questions that I'll ask, and then I have a few 50-50 choices made specially for you. You'll see at the end. So.
They better not be political.
No, they're not. Don't worry, they're not. Club song for karaoke.
Jesus. I usually lash out the sash. They all love that. Not at all. Club song for karaoke. What was it? I think we've rang out fucking, I don't know why, Molly Malone the odd time, but that's Big Brian, and he's usually drunk, and halfway through the song he's shouting at people to shut up.
I already like him.
He kind of does a mix. Do you know what I mean? He's one of these sort of we don't have a club song. We just get Brian to sing.
Okay, perfect. So Brian is club karaoke. We'll take that. So
there we go.
Marty or Des?
I'm going to pass.
Okay.
I haven't formed an opinion on that. There you go.
Okay. I'll be ringing you to find out in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
The toughest team you guys have ever come up against?
Oh, that's a sharp one. I could be smart and say it's ourselves, because that's the team that usually beats us. Yep. But genuinely, both Seville and Jib, it shifts every year. I know GA clubs flux.
Yeah.
But I mean, one year there, Jib had a very strong team. There was no beating them. And that was a tough year, because it was a walkover for them, basically. They just had so many strong players in. The toughest team we've played that I really enjoyed playing was actually Filos de Brogan.
Okay.
Because it was a different type of game. You had no idea of the cut of them. You had a couple of big Spanish lads in there. You didn't know if they were tough or soft or fast or strong or, whatever. And they were unpredictable. And that was fun. That was a tough game to read, because whenever you're playing the lads who've played for years, you know what they're trying to do most of the time. Do you know what I mean? They're playing the ball back for a point. Grand. These boys would play the ball back for a point. Then they'd play it back again. Then they'd play it back again. Suddenly it's back at their keeper. And you're standing around going, why didn't you just take your point? They're not interested. They want to draw you out, and they're playing this massive counter-attack strategy, and suddenly it's opened up, and suddenly there's a goal. And you're like, where the fuck did that come from? So
it sounds like they've been watching Jim Gavin Dublin training videos over the last 10 years.
They've been watching something, man. They've probably been watching fucking Messi and Ronaldo and all them boys play for far too long, and they're applying their stuff. Yeah,
too much of that.
Shite.
You can bring the lads to take on one county in Ireland. Who would you like a shot against?
Who would we like a shot against?
Yeah.
We would have to give the champions a run for their money.
Okay.
I love to play a good tough team, and Tyrone. Big strong bunch of crazy heads. So yeah, we'd give them a slap. Sure, if we won, we'd take the couples. Grand.
Lovely. It's funny, you're the first person that's been able to come on and say would take on the champions, and it's not Dublin. This is the first one I've recorded since.
Yeah, for the last couple of years, you must be bored.
I'm bored every three. I'm even more bored because I teach in Dublin, and the Sam Maguire just was.
Oh my god!
It got to the point where James McCarthy brought it in a couple of years ago by himself, and then had no lift out, so had to stand at the traffic lights outside on the main road, just with the Sam Maguire at his feet. It was just, it just became monotonous.
Please tell me you got a photo.
Oh,
That
we
would have
did,
been
yeah.
that
Someone
would have
has
been
it.
class.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Somebody
people who
has
drove by in cars taking photos with him as well and sticking heads out the window. It was just,
But sure, that's part of the crack too. That's what
it
I
is,
love. I
yeah.
mean, you imagine walking around with the World Cup, standing at the side of the road with the World
Yeah.
Cup, you know, and you'd be battered black and blue and robbed. You know, I'm surprised somebody didn't throw a euro into it while it was sitting. All right there, lad. You short a few bob, you all
That
right?
would have been brilliant. I would have loved that.
You
That would have
know,
been absolutely brilliant, yeah. It's all part of the memories as
classic.
well, I suppose.
Tis, tis.
You can choose between one of the famous GA choice hats, flags, scarves, or headbands.
Ah, flags, mate. Always
Okay.
flags.
I knew what I was asking, and I was like, this will be an interesting one, yeah.
Flags, flags, flags.
Oh, brilliant.
Highly versatile. You can use them as picnic blankets. You can sleep under them. You can dry yourself after the beach with them. Flags, man. Always flags.
Brilliant. The greatest GA player in your lifetime that you will pick could be any time. Your favorite GA player.
Oh, wow.
It's usually
he's
a
Meath
lot of
man.
thinking of this one.
Fullback. Got his name. Fullback for Meath. Best fullback ever. Colm O'Rourke. Mick Lyons.
Yep.
I play fullback, so this is more of a personal thing for me.
Yep.
I watched him. That's how you do it.
Brilliant.
And it was just like, wow, yeah, you got it. It's easy to go for, you know, the O'Shea's or the sort of this generation.
Yeah.
But I think if you look back further, when GA was GA and men were men, and you just basically ran into each other until somebody gave up, you know, that was that was the fun stuff, because you could go the rock or whatever, but he was abnormal. He was just a whole other level, like, you know. So yeah, Mick Lyons. I'll pick Mick Lyons.
Brilliant. Yeah, I love a good left field choice, because you don't get too many of them, to be honest. So these are the 50-50.
He's a Meath man too, isn't he?
He is a Meath man, yes. Yeah, which I will hold that against him, obviously being from Westmeath. But
Westmeath, yeah. Close enough. Jeez.
Yeah, close enough, yeah, down the road. These are the 50-50 choices you have. So these are specifically for you. So Marbella or Maharafeld?
Oh, Marbella.
Okay. One of the few people who I discovered doing my history research that was born around your area is the actress Millie Bobby Brown. So you can choose between Stranger Things or Derry Girls.
Oh, I know her. Oh God.
You know who?
I'm one of the girls from Derry. Millie. Yeah, she's at the local school, and yeah.
All right.
And I know the Derry Girls too. Oh no. Oh God, yeah, Derry Girls. No, it's classic stuff. It's just that the heartstrings are being plucked every time I watch that.
Yeah. It's phenomenal. It's brilliant.
It's phenomenal.
And then I'm going to throw in Derry Girls again. So Father Ted or Derry Girls?
Father Ted.
Brilliant. Yeah, good choice.
They've got to bounce anyway, so I can walk away without getting scalded in that one. That's grand.
Fair enough. The Golden Mile of Marbella or doing the 12 pubs in Ireland?
12 pubs.
Brilliant. Spanish seafood or a good catch of fish from Ireland?
How's it cooked?
Whatever way you want it.
Shite. I'm gonna go Spanish.
Yeah, it's funny. All the Spanish people so far, all the clubs have gone Spanish seafood, paella, that kind of thing as well.
It's just amazing. I know. I'm not saying that this is the thing. It's not that. I actually didn't do seafood before I came over. Now I do. Love it.
Yeah.
So it was one of them ones. So I have to. Homeboy. There we go.
Brilliant. Yep. Costa del Sol or Costa del Ireland in general?
Costa del Ireland. Believe it or not.
Ireland. Love it. And then the other couple of things at the end that I ask every club, your jersey and all the gear for the club. Can people who listen in and buy jerseys and stuff get it on O'Neill's, or where are we looking?
They can on the website for CostaGaels.com. There's a link to the store. So that's standard stuff. Obviously, I don't think we're changing the jersey this year. So there'll be no big one there. But the whole off kit, all the gear's there as well. So yeah, knock yourselves out, guys.
Brilliant.
Fantastic seeing a few of them knocking around that we didn't fucking hand out.
Standard, isn't it? Yeah. What else we got? Is there anyone then you'd like to give a shout out to back home before I let you go?
Oh yeah, the list is the list is long. Do you know what? I'm going to give a shout out to Joe Brawley. I'm going to say, Joe, we miss you. I miss you in there winding up Pat and the lads. And actually, you're wrong most of the time, but you get people thinking and get people talking. and I think he should be back on TV.
I presume you've seen his Word of God messages lately.
No, I haven't actually. No, I haven't. No.
Oh, you should go onto Twitter and check that one out. Yeah, he had one up before the All-Ireland final about what was going to happen based on the Word of God.
Right. Okay.
Fantastic.
So he's speaking to the big man now.
It's
is
fantastic.
he? I'm on hold. Tell him fucking let me in. Hang up so I can speak to the big man. Christ. No, I actually enjoyed Joe on the panel. I think he was that sort of antagonist that you need.
Yeah.
And he did wind everybody up, and I quite liked it. But he was wrong half the time.
Yeah, I think you do need it now, particularly since the lads on BBC have completely taken over as the best. Thomas Niblock and the lads they're better than anybody.
Yeah, fantastic
hands
stuff.
Down. We all turn over to that to watch the pre-game, the half,
the analysis and stuff.
He just lets everyone go at it. Just let Oisin McConville shout. If they want to shout at each other, let them shout, and don't be butting in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Yeah, we've become hardcore BBC enthusiasts over the last
which is scary. You know,
it is in some ways. It just shows, though, maybe how things have changed, and maybe it just took a group of people analysis to just sort of realize this isn't the way to go with analysis anymore. You need to stop interrupting people. Just let them shout and
let them rock it on.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bring back Joe. That's hashtag.
Okay, bring back Joe. We'll put that in so it's dead. Hashtag for the whole lot. Is
for the BBC.
Yeah, for the BBC. That'll be brilliant. Yeah, that'll be so funny to see him rock up with the BBC. Yeah.
Fucking giving a load of up yours.
2 fingers past Milan and everyone else. Yeah.
Bollocks. Look at the ratings. Yeah, bollocks. Yeah,
yeah.
I know. Oh,
is there anything else, Justin, you want to say or give a shout out?
Plenty. I could keep you on for another hour or two if you wanted.
I'd listen to you all day. No bother.
No, come here. I'm sitting here, the sweat's tripping off me because I'm sitting on my terrace, the sun's shining. I'm thinking I'm going to go to the beach, have a nice cold beer, maybe have a wee dip. And yeah, that's just how I'm going to pass my day. So how are you boys going to pass yours?
I'm not even going to answer that question.
Good man. Smart boy.
Look, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'll keep in touch with you for sure, and I'll give you a shout when this is going out with. But I really appreciate coming on. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh, lovely, Justin. Thanks very much. I'll keep in touch with you on the old WhatsApp and stuff. I'll bring you the odd photo. And
yeah, definitely. I'm going to pass around. Sort of just drop the message to clubs, maybe, if you're going traveling, think about it. It's the way to go. Yeah, definitely. I'd be all up for that. I go to my brother's club. I just turn up. I'd bring a microphone and just turn up.
Any old excuse, man.
Yeah, I'd be out for sure. Yeah. Look, go on, enjoy your lunch. I'll talk to you again soon.
Take it easy, big man.
Thanks, Justin. Cheers. Appreciate it. Mind yourself. Good luck. Bye.
Bye.
Coming up the next day on the Loaf of Bread GAA Global, we cut into our next slice.
Ugly stuff happens and stuff, but you jab this guy in the back with your hurl, send him flying. No. So I started running in on him, but I wasn't the only one, and I didn't get there first. The Tampa guys had this guy down, helmet off. I don't remember his name because of course I don't, but some dude throwing bows down on this dude's head. And it's just like, man, we're not even your team.
And I know the Tampa guys barely knew me, and they were just like, no, this guy's playing with us.
Yeah.
We're not having that.
Yeah.
On Slice 35 next, I chat to two awesome men. Christopher, the founder of the Augusta GAA Club in Georgia, and player and Navy man Eric. We chat all things Augusta GAA, being at Kilkenny versus Wexford 2004, Purdue College hurling, the rivalries of Michael Cusack's Orlando, Atlanta and others, a man from Tullamore, having no Irish pub, maroon and white jerseys, becoming hurling kings of the southeast, jabbing in the back, and much more. And a quote that will live long in the memory. Father Jack is an inspiration. That's next Monday on the Loaf of Bread GAA podcast. I'll see you at the Arrivals Hall, but until then, check out the various clubs on the Instagram page and see all the amazing work they do and some of the nicest GAA gear going. Find the podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on TikTok. Email loafofbreadpod@gmail.com, or just simply hit the follow button and spread the word of the Loaf of Bread GAA pod across the globe. Slánigí.